Hey guys, Palkia here, welcome back to another voxlblade build showcase video. Today I'm going to be showcasing my second slot, which is my healer build. This build isn't actually anything special, but it's pretty simple, but I thought I'd make a video on it since I haven't seen anyone use this exact build, and I think the heals are pretty big. Other healers, maybe it's just because I'm not running into other maxed healers, but I feel like most healers I run into in dungeons don't heal as much as I do. So yeah, this is how much I heal for Rune. It's going to be 9.5. Keep in mind I am pretty high level, so, you know, if you're level 40 or something, it's going to be slightly less healing. But yeah, so with the Rune, get 9.5 healing. With the weapon art, it's 52.5. And then with the cure, the cantrip from the church, it's 51.7. This healing's from regen buff I got from luck. But yeah, so that's how much I heal. Build is pretty straightforward. I'm wearing, you know, everything's enchanted with Enlightened, of course, because this is a holy build. So Enlightened with extra holy boost. I'm wearing full Star Guardian here with a Enlightened magic missile rune. You could use a healing rune for more holy boost, but honestly, the healing rune active is trash because, I mean, it's 120-second cooldown, which is insane for, you know, a small heal. And the range is just so small. I have no idea why the range is so small, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I think the heal rune, like, active ability is just so trash that it's not worth it. With extra holy boost. Like, you know, I have no need for the extra protection and warding and whatnot that the magic missile rune gives me, but you know, it's better than this. So yeah, and then the ring is, you know, Enlightened Holy Ring, pretty straightforward. The guild is obviously going to be a church guild, and then infused I have 3 pieces of divine infantry. If you want this to be, you know, more of a healing build, you could do, you know, you could switch up the infusions. You could do more Star Guardian pieces if you want. Although, keep in mind, Star Guardian perk, Star Friendship, you get diminishing returns. So what that means is the more pieces you have, the less value you're going to get out of them. The first piece of Star Guardian you have, you're going to get the most value out of. And then any subsequent pieces you put on, you're going to get less and less weapon art reduction. So I think, you know, 3 pieces is fine. If you want more healing, you could maybe infuse some clerics pieces. I actually did try using clerics for the critical healing, but frankly, I think the critical healing is just trash. The only way I would like try to go a critical healing build is, you know, if I was using 5 pieces of cleric, 1 piece of Star Guardian, and then a lucky ring. Because if you don't have a lucky ring, the critical healing is just so underwhelming. But yeah. So, go showcase this. Let me show you what weapon I'm using. So, it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to be using the Angelwood handle, which makes this sword unbalanced, and I'll explain why in a moment. But yeah, so Angelwood handle, this allows me to heal when I use my rune. I'm just using magical missile rune because it's lowest cooldown. The only other rune with a 10-second cooldown, as far as I'm aware of, is the combat roll rune. But you know, you don't want to be rolling every time you're trying to heal someone in a dungeon. So the magic missile rune is the way to go. So this allows you to heal off your rune, and then you know, this is pretty self-explanatory. Now, pairing these two gives you an unbalanced sword, right? Which you might think is bad, but this build is, for this build, it's actually intentional. Like, I actually want this to be unbalanced, because if this was balanced, if I just didn't have the Angel's blade, or handle rather, my attack chain would be 3 different attacks, but because it's unbalanced, I'm only attacking twice, which means that my finisher, which is my second attack, is getting procced more often. So, because I'm only hitting twice, I get more value out of Mortal Will. Now, so this is obviously going to be a hybrid build. Divine Infantry does give Holy Boost, of course, but it's, you know, not going to give as much healing as, like, you know, let's say Star Guardian or Clerics, because it is more damage based. But with this build, it allows you to play open world very easily. I mean, you can, you know, easily two-shot different types of mobs, wolves. I actually think I might be able to one-shot him with my finisher. Yeah, I actually can. And I can also two-shot lizards, which I'll show you. Wow, another Easter bunny. I'm getting really lucky. Oh, I can actually one-shot him. Nice. But yeah, so the damage is, you know, it's obviously not a DPS build, it's healing centered, but the damage is definitely not bad. It's definitely more than enough for playing in the overworld. Obviously, you're not gonna be much of a DPS unit in dungeons, but it's definitely plenty for, you know, farming in the open world. And the healing is really insane, I think. 9.5 off the rune again, and then off my weapon art, it's 52.5, which is pretty big. And the cure, of course, is 51.7. This build is going to be a lot more effective if you can find another player in your team that also uses Star Guardian, because obviously the cooldown on this is 45 seconds. Oh, by the way, for race, I'm running Dark Elf, I believe, or High Elf, whatever it's called. It's the one that reduces your weapon cooldown by 25%. So yeah, I mean, 45 seconds is a bit of a long cooldown. If you have another Star Guardian user, that cooldown can be reduced like quite a bit. It can be as low as like 16 seconds, which is insane, depending on how many pieces of Star Guardian the other user is wearing. But yeah, this build is a lot stronger if you can find another Star Guardian user in your team. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward build, but I think it's really strong. Yeah, consider trying it out if you're going a healing build. I just remembered something I wanted to add on to my previous thoughts. So the biggest problem with healing builds is going to be like leveling up in the early game, because I mean, this was like extremely slow and painful gameplay for me in the early stages, because your damage is terrible, because obviously you're prioritizing healing, like you're a healer. So it's pretty difficult. I would, like, you know, only recommend trying to build a healer loadout if you know, have another friend or friends to play with, or have people that can help you out, because otherwise the leveling process is actually just really miserable. And if you want like a more heal focused build, I mentioned it earlier, but I think having 5 pieces of clerics, like either 3 infused or 2 infused, you know, and weighing 3 or 2, having 5 pieces of clerics total, and then 1 piece of Star Guardian paired with a lucky ring is gonna be super strong. Obviously you're not gonna deal as much damage because, you know, you're missing out on the mortal will, but you're gonna have pretty insane healing. So you'd have, you know, your armor, this would be a lucky ring instead, and then you'd still go the magic missile rune. So my elf, my guild, my race rather, for this build is obviously high elf, but I think just elf is also viable. Elf gives 40% reduction on your rune, so you'd have your magic missile rune up every 6 seconds instead of every 10 seconds, and then obviously with the cleric's critical healing build, you'd be getting significantly bigger heals, because, you know, critical healing, if you can actually proc it often, which the lucky ring allows you to do, then it's actually viable. But unfortunately, without the lucky ring, the critical healing poke is just a letdown, at least in my experience. I don't really consider myself like a good theory crafter or anything by any means, so, you know, I have no doubt that better healing builds, you know, better hybrid builds out there exist that have, you know, both great healing and, you know, good enough damage for you to play in the overworld with no issues at all. So, you know, if you guys have any suggestions or, you know, any of your own personal ideas for, you know, whether it be a unique piece to infuse or just a unique piece to wear that grants like a perk that's super useful, definitely let me know in the comments. I haven't tested this, you know, different armors and perks and whatnot on this build as much as the other two builds because, you know, it's a healer build. It's not going to be as fun as, in my opinion, as damage builds. So, you know, I'm lazy and I haven't done as much testing. So, if you guys have any ideas, suggestions, recommendations, definitely let me know. And yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Take care.